Good morning Year 7. I hope you are all safe and well. Today I'm going to be going through some of the Maths Watch questions for this week, which is all about rounding. I'm going to look at some parts to questions 4, 5, 6 and 7, which are all about rounding to significant figures. Now there is a Maths Watch video linked to this task that you can watch. I know some of you are still finding this a little bit tricky, so I'm just going to go through a couple of the questions and still leave some for you to have a go at yourself on Maths Watch. So the first one I'm going to have a look at is on question 4 part A, and a good thing to do with these questions is to say the number out loud to yourself. So we've got 25,637 and we're going to be rounding that to one significant figure. So you need to think about what significant figures you've got in that original number. So the 2 here at the beginning is our first significant figure, 5 is the second, 6 is the third, etc. Now this 2, you need to think about what its value is. Okay, we've said that the number is 25,637, so that number 2 there actually represents 20,000. Okay, the 5 represents 5,000, the 6 represents 600, the 3 represents 30, and the 7 represents 7. So we're going to be looking at that 2 at the beginning, which is worth 20,000. And what a good idea to do with this is to, I know you can't on Maths Watch, but you can write the number down next to you on a piece of pen and paper, okay? And just draw a line down after your first significant figure that you've got there, okay? And what we're going to be looking at now is we're going to be looking at that 2 on the left-hand side of the line and the 5 on the right-hand side of the line. Now that 2 is either going to stay as a 2 and be worth 20,000, or it's going to round up to a 3 and be worth 30,000. And that decision is based on the number on the right hand side of the line. In this case it's a 5. So if that number on the right hand side of the line is a 0, 1, 2, 3 or 4, then the number on the left stays as it is. If the number on the right hand side of the line is a 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, okay, then the number on the left rounds up. So in this case here we've got a 5 on the right hand side here, okay, which means our number on the other side of the line is going to round up. So that's going to round up to a 3. But we know that it's not worth 3. The 2 here is worth 20,000. And as we've rounded it up to a 3, it's going to be worth 30,000. So we need to make sure we get the right number of zeros on our number. So we've now rounded that number to one significant figure. The 3 is the one significant figure, and then we've got placeholder zeros here which show that that 3 is worth 30,000. Okay? Let's have a look at part B. So we've got a decimal in there as well. So we still only want one significant figure here. That's what it says in the question. So again, draw your line between the first significant figure and the second significant figure. Okay, we need to pop our pound sign there, so we can do that already. And then we think, right, is that 2 going to stay as a 2, or is it going to round up to a 3? So we look to the number on the other side of the line. Is that a 0, 1, 2, 3 or 4? Where the 2 stays as it is? No, it's not. It's a 5. So that 2 is going to round up to a 3. Okay. Because we've got a decimal point here and we've got a pound sign, we know that we're talking about pounds and pence. So we've got to show that in our answer that we've got pounds and pence. So the 3 is our first significant figure, and then we just put 0, 0 here for our placeholders to show that we've got our pounds and pence there. Now I'm going to have a look at part C as well. We've got 9,877 metres. Okay, so again, say that number out loud to yourself. I'm going to put my line after my first significant figure because I'm rounding to one significant figure. And then I need to decide, is that 9 going to stay as 9,000? Or is that 9 going to round up to 10,000? Now looking at the number on the other side of the line, on the right hand side is an 8. okay, which is greater than 5, so 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, okay, So we're going to round that 9 up to a 10. But it's not worth 10, is it? It's 10,000 because we've got 9,877. So that 9,000 is rounding up to a 10 to make 10,000. So we add the zeros in to make sure we're maintaining the size and the value of that number. Okay, so we're going to have a look at one of the parts to question 5, and then I'm going to leave the rest of question 5 for you to try and do yourself. Now, question 5 is slightly different because it asks you to round to 2 significant figures. So, looking at that first number there, we've got 24,992. So, the 2 is my first significant figure, the 4 is my second significant figure, the 9 is my third, etc. So, because I want to round to 2 significant figures this time, I'm going to draw my line after the second significant figure. So when we rounded to 1 significant figure, we drew our line after the first significant figure. Now we're rounding to 2 significant figures, I need to draw my line after the second significant figure. So exactly the same process as last time. I'm thinking that 2 and that 4 are my 2 significant figures, but they're not a 2 and a 4, they're worth 24,000. And I need to decide if that 24,000 is going to stay as 24,000 or if it's going to round up to 25,000. So we look at the number on the right hand side of our line. It's a 9. So if it's 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, remember we round it up. If it was a 0, 1, 2, 3 or 4, it would stay as it is. So as we've got a 9 there, rather than that being 24,000, it's going to round up to 25,000. And it's important to put those placeholder zeros in after to make sure the value of your number stays as it should be. Now I'm going to leave you to do part B and part C. Okay, so remember to draw your line after the 2 significant figures and then think about whether it's going to stay as it is or whether it's going to round up. Now with part B, remember it's got some units there of pounds, so you need to make sure that your answer has got pounds and pence, like I did in the previous example. So if you want to pause the video now and have a go at doing those, you can, and do those onto MathsWatch. Otherwise you can carry on watching the video and go back to those questions after you've watched the whole video. So moving on to question 6, and what you'll notice about these numbers in both question 6 and question 7, okay, is that they are decimal numbers and they have leading zeros at the beginning. Okay, so they are 0.08351, 0.00498. They're all numbers less than 1. So in this case, when we're looking at the significant figures, the leading zeros don't count as significant figures. So the first significant figure in our first number is the 8, the 3 is the second significant figure, and the 5 is the third, the 1 is the fourth. Okay, so when you're looking at numbers less than 1, these sorts of numbers where you've got 0.000 something else, then it's only the first non-zero number that counts as a significant figure. So the question asks us to round these numbers to 1 significant figure. So same as before, I'm going to draw my line after the first significant figure. Because the 8 is my first significant figure. These zeros don't count as significant figures that are at the beginning of the number. So as before, is that 8 going to stay as an 8 or is it going to round up to a 9? Okay, now thinking about your place value, you have got, this is your tenths column and the 8 is in the hundredths column. Okay, so we know, looking at the number on the right hand side of the line, that that 8 is going to stay as an 8. So rounding this number to 1 significant figure would be 0.08. Now before, when the numbers were greater than 1, we had to add the placeholder zeros on after. Okay, we don't need to with these types of numbers because we're showing that the value of that number is 0.08. Adding zeros on after is not going to change the value of that number. So we just leave that as 0.08. Looking at part B, we've got 0.00498. Now the first significant number in this number is the 4, so I'm going to draw my line after the 4. And again, I decide, is that number 4 going to stay as a 4, or is it going to round up to a 5? And again, it's not worth a 4 or a 5, it's in the thousandths column. Okay, so I've got a 9 on the right hand side of the line. That 9 over here means that this 4 is going to round up to a 5. So my rounded number is 0.005. Again, I don't need to put any zeros on the end because I just need one significant figure. I'm going to leave you to do part C of this question on your own on MathsWatch. Again, you can pause the video now and have a go at that on MathsWatch, or you can wait until the video is finished and then try them all together. Okay, lastly, I'm going to look at question 7. So this is very similar to question 6, but this time, rather than one significant figure, you've been asked to round to 2 significant figures. So looking at our first number, we've got 0.007249. The 7 is my first significant figure, the 2 is my second significant figure. So I'm going to draw my line after the second significant figure because I'm rounding to 2 significant figures. I need to decide if that 2 is going to stay as a 2 or whether that's going to round up to a 3. So I've got 0.0072, or is it going to be 0.0073? As I've got a 4 on the right hand side of the line, the 2 is going to stay as it is, so our answer will be 0.0072. Part B, got a nice long number there, 0.00992314. So I'm going to draw my line after the second significant figure, which would be there. So the first 9 is my first significant figure, the second 9 is my second significant figure. And I need to decide if that 9 is going to stay as a 9 or whether it is going to round up. As I've got a 2 here, it's going to stay as it is, so my answer is 0.0099. Again, I'm going to leave the last one there for you to have a go at on MathsWatch yourself. If you've got any further questions or need any further help, then please email me. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing your completed work on MathsWatch. Thank you, bye.